So the theme is about technologies of consciousness, SDGs, and human evolution. It's a pretty ambitious title, but you will see that the idea is pretty simple. I'm going to just do this little introduction, and then we will introduce the panelist. So this picture is from a conference that was held in Davos in 1983. It was not during the web. It was at the end of August, beginning of September 1983. So this was 40 years ago. And it's very interesting that we have Shyalpa Rinpoche. In this case, Dalai Lama came. This was the International Transpersonal Association Conference. Transpersonal psychology is about consciousness and studying the different technologies of consciousness and how these techniques and technologies can be applied to mental health and the evolution of human beings. So the participant was like the dream team of all these fields, no? Like Jack Field, Roger Walsh, Frances Bachman, Dalai Lama, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Stan Grof, and many others, no? So this is interesting because, well, and then we have the Magic Mountain book, which is based in this precise place in Davos. So it seems that Davos already has this connection with spirituality, consciousness, long time ago, no? But I didn't know anything about this until recently. I came in 2020 to Davos, to the Unconference, to participate in some panels as a participant, not as a speaker, as a participant on psychedelics and psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy. So Rick Doblin came, and David Erritzoe also was part of one of this panel. And I was surprised that this was happening in Davos web. Like, how is possible that they are talking about psychotherapy in web? No, so I didn't know there were all these side events. So, but once I came, I feel that a lot of things were happening. No? The House of Trust, which was called Land Space back in the days. So this place was like an incubator, and now there are many houses, many places where these things are being talk, no? And then in 2022, it was even a side event, the full week, the Medical Psychedelic House, which, by the way, the organizers are here with us, so maybe you can also address that later. So this was even more amazing, no? Just not one panel or two, but a whole conference within the Davos, no? This is this year. In fact, there were two panels. This was with Rick Doblin. There was another one in the penthouse, Hotel Europe penthouse, with David, Rick Doblin. So this has been happening, no? But the interesting thing is to make this connection with something that already happened 40 years ago, no? So it looks like they put this seed 40 years ago, these transpersonal guys, and now this is again happening, no? And it's becoming mainstream. So this is all about, no? This panel is about why and how is that all these technologies of consciousness, not only psychedelics, which is my field, but also meditation, spirituality, are becoming mainstream, no? There are in the universities, there are master's programs and in mindfulness, in meditation. So this is becoming more and more mainstream, no? This is a panel I made this morning, addressing more the conference itself, the 1983 conference, and yesterday I interviewed Rick Doblin about this. So he was not able to stay until today, so we record that. So I will send you the link if you want also to have also his perspective about all this theme. And then today, now we have like this connection also with SDGs, which was another thing that without having any idea of what were the SDGs or how can be connected with these technologies of consciousness, somehow I start seeing a lot of connections, but I don't want to say my perspective. I want to ask this wonderful panel what they think about this. So for those of you that don't know what are the SDGs, are the Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations. There are 17, no? So it's about how to arrive to these goals in the shortest period of time, no? So there's this concept of impact, no? How can we impact through investment, through organizations, to reach these goals. No? So I'm going to read just some of them. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, which is what is more connected with the theme, but I think others also. Quality education, gender equality, and so on. So I'm going to just leave these slides. So my question is going to be about this. No? Also, I went with Rick yesterday to the SDGs because I wanted to do this connection, no? Because psychotherapy, it's a lot of impact in mental health. So I asked if you do this connection, even UN is giving money for this, so it can be even more impactful for this work. No? So we are just having this conversation very recently. So the first question, and maybe first you can just introduce ourselves, and then, but the first question is going to be this: how can these different technologies of consciousness, meditation, psychedelics, photography, breath work, and others align people and companies with SDGs on a scale? Okay, so this is the first question I want to open to the panelists, but also if you want to say something about this, you can also be part of the conversation. So,
Can you say that one more time for me, please?
how can these different technologies of consciousness, meditation, psychedelic assisted psychotherapy, and other technologies of consciousness align people with SDGs? So become them more aware about these SDGs and really align them with them so we can reach them faster. So this is the first question. So I mean, probably David is going to talk more about from the research point of view. Maybe you can talk more about your experience, decades experience with meditation, mindfulness. So it's like a very open. So, and if you want just to check which are these SDGs, you know, you are aware of the SDGs, no? So, which ones do you think are more aligned, no, with meditation or psychedelic assisted psychotherapy? So, I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. So you wanna start, Shyalpa? No, first you can present yourself, and then you can just give one idea to open. Do you wanna start presenting yourself, brother?
She did it already.
Eh? No, but you can say a little more about your trajectory, no? Especially your link with technologies of consciousness, which in your case is more mindfulness. So maybe you can explain us a little bit.
Time that I have.
Let's say 5-10 minutes, and then.
Yes. Thank you for the opportunity. There's another day of tell of mindfulness. I think this is already a wonderful way, a wonderful pathway to touch our consciousness. If we can own it, to touch consciousness is to stop. Time to time, throughout the day, just listen. There's a gateway. So whenever I hear a bell, I stop. I stop walking, I stop talking, stop grabbing something. Just hold and look and listen to my breathing, feel my body. Is it tense? Am I nervous? Am I restless? And give myself a little break, a little holiday, a free breath weekend where I can rest and bask within myself. And this already brings me pretty close to what we may call consciousness. What is consciousness? In Buddhism, we say consciousness is vast and empty, and that makes it uncorruptible. The word mindfulness became a dirty word. Everybody uses mindfulness for everything they need it for, and it became something else. Consciousness is vast and empty. How vast is it? How vast is the multiverse? That makes it uncorruptible. It is empty, it is formless, makes it uncorruptible. Somebody once said, trying to explain consciousness with the mind is like trying to illuminate the sun with a candle. It is impossible. So I think we have to approach it from the other side, from the mind side. So mind can be consciousness. We gotta get an idea of what are we talking about. What do we want to touch? Where we want to kind of bask in, and how can this be of benefit to reach these goals, to reach ourselves and our hearts. So the mind is basically consciousness, but because we have senses, we have sense organs, we have a sense consciousness, there are sense objects in the world, the mind is limiting itself. So the mind is consciousness that is limited. If we are able, through different ways that we're going to explore today, to transcend these limitations. There's ego, and there's fear, and we heard it before, who's been here before. Insecurity, there's ecstatic joy. These are all obstacles because they are not neutral. So to really find a way to that source, to that mother of all existence, to that mother of all wisdom, clarity, brightness. I believe, talking about my tradition and my strategy, the way out is in. So I cannot explain something that resides deeply and profoundly within me by searching it in the outside world. I did psychedelics before I was a monk, and I really loved it because it got me in touch with that, and it got me in a place where I find myself in the place of the whole. I let go of it at one point because I thought, I don't want to buy my happiness. I know that I own it and that I have constant and instant access to it. And I want to, rather than spend all my money on it, tap on this source within me. There's a beautiful video on YouTube, free, very short, 3 minutes, from a company that I don't want to advertise, starts with G and ends with Google. But it's an old video actually from a scientist that has a lying down lady at the campus, and they zoom out of her. Somebody knows that? It zooms out and it's called like 10.
The power of 10.
Really?
The power of 10.
Yes, exactly. So it zooms out and goes into the cosmos. It goes like into the cosmos, and you see the different layers, this body, and you see the planet Earth, and you see our solar system, you see the galaxy, you see the nebulas, you see the other galaxies. And it goes up to the atomic emptiness, where there's nothing. And there it stops and it zooms back in to that lady, into the eye of the lady, goes into the cellular structure of the body, into the atomic emptiness within the body, and it looks, guess what? Exactly the same. There is no inside, outside. That's an insight. So my strategy became to become still. To become still and to train myself. It is, of course, my teacher says, it's simple, but not easy. And because we have sense organs, they are sense objects, we have sense consciousness. So we get easily distracted in our machinery, our mind machinery, which is good because it saves our lives every day and leads us in a way. But to step back a little bit from that and just be aware what it can do and what it does good for us, and where it is in the way for us to tap into our own source. And I strongly believe what His Eminence said, when we share not only experience, but also material resources, it doesn't matter what, it's about the sharing. And we say sharing is caring. And that means that we get an understanding of what my teacher again calls interbeing, the interdependent co-arising, the interconnectedness of everything. I cannot live by myself. I have been given birth by this Mother Earth, but not only that, but I am I do consist of the same elements like this earth. I consist of the same elements as the cloud, the rain, the stars. There is no difference. So practically speaking for me is when I allow myself to accept the world as it is, as a continuously changing, and again, including myself, consciousness. It's not an entity, it's not a world, it's a consciousness. Then I'm understanding it because I become it. Does that make sense? But it is not possible when it is loud in here, when it is loud outside. I need places of refuge. And again, my own body can be a home. My own body can be a home for myself. And let's start with like emotions that we have that irritate us, that beat us up and bring us down. When we are able, what Rinpoche said, like to accept the moment as it is, this is it. You know, you want it, you don't want it, it doesn't go away. It will, because it's impermanent, but not in the pace you want it to go away. So, but instead, if you say, I accept this reality, it's painful, it's not, it doesn't feel good, but I embrace it. And who do you embrace? You embrace yourself. You embrace yourself and you attune yourself to that what is. You're in a flow. You're a part of this impermanence. We had the example with the ocean and the waves. You know, the waves also might say the upper wave and the lower wave. Maybe the lower wave says like, you're always up there, you know, I'm always down there, I want to be up there too. Or the upper wave says like, I'm always getting hit by the wind, you know, or the surfers always want to ride on me. Yeah, and you're completely free. But we have to realize that both of these waves are part of the ocean, right? And that what was a wave here will become foam there. And it's just beautiful to experience that and to observe that and to watch it and to be it. And if you know that you are a wave and the foam, and then you will become vapor, and then you become a cloud, and then you become rain, and then you rain in Switzerland, you become snow. You are free, and your heart is at peace. And if you are able to share this with someone, that means, what does it mean? Can you answer that question? If you're in that state and you're able to share it, or you have the wish to share it, you extend and expand that. You know, you become part of this vastness, of this infinite consciousness. So I think that's it. Huh? The time is up.
One is about caring, all this, no? What you say about caring, all
And
this
then
is about
only when
caring.
you share it, exactly. This comes when you experience and you see and you know that you know, basically. Then all these things come from inside out and they're manifesting and they're happening. You know, because they are not separate, and you say, I have to do responsible consumption, and I have to do partnerships, and I have to do peace and justice, and plastic and oceans. No, you are vibrating in an energy that is attuned. You are. So this is all happening, and sharing means to infect someone. But you cannot force anyone to be happy. We have to live in a way freely and happily that other people are jealous and they want to be like us. If you inspire people, it's like you're sparking a little fire in their heart. They want that because they see this brings much more joy than what I'm doing. And the only way to inspire people is to live a life that inspires and that inspires yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. a little bit.
Yeah, so now
You want to introduce yourself a little bit, your background?
I'll do that. I'm David Erritzoe, and I am a psychiatrist, and I feel so I'm here because Iker was so eager to have somebody representing the psychedelic science in addition to himself, because in a way he could have done it himself. But so that's why I'm sitting here quite humble and feeling that in a way you can then start to sort of in a way take some of the beauty and the sensitivity out of what we are talking about here in order to try to measure and understand and use scales and brain imaging and so on, which is what we do in the lab that I work at Imperial College in London, where we do brain science. So I'm basically a bit of a lab rat. So when you hear then I start salivate when we hear the bells. No, I'm joking. But then it makes me think also in a way that if it's all about what we experience within and what we are able to do through that, then why are we even trying to do what we are doing in such a lab? And I think so. I just want to mention that on a very sort of pull down practical, what we are in a way trying to do is harvest some of the fruits from the practices and work that people like you are doing, and try to create access for people to have more easy access to reach some of that and find some of that, because it's not everybody who are able to or have the capacity or the resources to in a way do all that work without a bit of a catalyzed shortcut. In order for people to get access, we do need to dumb it down and make irritating scales for this and that in order to try to measure things, in order to take it through the regulatory processes that are required for this to become something that people can access and benefit from. And me as a psychiatrist, obviously, and a lot of other people make most of the scientists working with psychedelics is the focus on mental health for all the reasons that we kind of understand very well from the effects of what you're talking about. And I think that psychedelics play an important role. And I got very curious to hear, if I'm allowed to ask you, you talked about your psychedelic experience. What would you say with your practice and where you are now and the whole path, would that have been different? Would you have reached exactly the same without, you think, just what role do you think it played?
It played its role, like all my suffering when I was drowning in suffering also brought me where I am today. It is a gateway. It was a gateway. And I never had like a downer or a horror trip or as it sometimes experienced. So it always brought me home. So it was a reassurance for me. As a little kid, we don't need these things. We talk to ourselves. We don't have any shame or any other barriers. And we lose that. So this was a wonderful reminder of what I knew before when I was little, and helped me to pursue it further on. And so I could never speak against drugs. It depends which ones. And what do you do? You said it was technology. It depends what you do with it. But it played its role just as anything else did. I did it for a reason. And it is a succession of conditions that brought me here. It was to answer your question, and you don't need to justify your work. Your work is fantastic. We need the proof, We need the proof for it. It's very legit. So he has to play the crucial role, because it gave me reassurance. It showed me, yes, I'm on the right way. I just chose not to spend money on it, but to tap it from my own side.
Yeah. And then because we were talking about this before the presentation, with SDGs you can collect the results of your studies.
Yeah, and actually very similar because of what you said, that all of it can be affected, and we can move in the right direction if it comes from within, where you access some of that wisdom and insight and sort of higher ranking and connected space of consciousness, then some of these things will change. So therefore, that work, with or without psychedelics, is can push some of this. I mean, I think before mentioned specifically, I want to mention something you talked about. In a way, talked about, maybe you didn't use those words, but acceptance in a way, surrendering to accepting painful states and so on. And I think one of the things that we see across most mental illnesses is what we refer to sometimes as experiential avoidance. This inability, there's too much pain to lean in and to feel and to experience and to even touch or work with really, really difficult states. And that we see across all mental health. And what we see with the psychedelics, when we measure that, there's a scale of everything else with that. And we do really see that people, they reduce an experiential avoidance. And I think it's one of the key cross-indication links is that people surrender to a quite profound state of acceptance and even forgiveness through the therapy with these drugs. And all that, everything that these drugs are doing in terms of therapy for a range of indications will obviously improve and push one of the I was going to say STDs, that's wrong. SDGs. At first, when you can say, yeah, what I'm talking about is STDs, I don't know the link there, but anyway. It's, yeah. So the health and well-being one, that I actually can't really see which one it is, but another one that, at least in the sessions I've been in, it was not really discussed, and I think it's a absolutely instrumental aspect. In the penthouse yesterday, when everybody needed to say a word, the one that I was trying to shout was nature relatedness, because it wasn't actually mentioned. And I think, again, it's something we can measure with a scale. And whether or not we conduct the work, the trials inside, which we do all the time, in a relatively uninspiring setting, it's not out in nature, it's not in a beautiful cloister or in a tree, or it is in a lab. And we obviously try to decorate these labs, and people have mixed feelings about how we and others are doing it. There's a bit, try to camouflage a clinical setting, but people, even in such a setting, really connect strongly with nature. And I think that is insanely interesting and very, very important. And one of the most thing we see across everything with psychedelics, that is going to be important for several of these measures, right? Whether it is the blue one about the oceans, or whether it's the climate. Hopefully, again, from within, we have had people who love fried chicken, who, at least I'm thinking about one specific patient in a trial, and that was not why she was in therapy, because she had in her relation to fried chicken, but she made she basically met a massive chicken in her experience. Quite surprisingly, now she's totally vegan. And actually, a lot of people in our trials actually, even give up meat. And I'm not a vegetarian myself, which I will be. Hopefully, I should do more psychedelics. But I think that's another thing that is good for the planet, and sometimes a bit of a random extra thing that happens when people go through these experiences on the journey to pursue something else and resolve something else. Then these extra things come in, and they all are relevant for the future of the planet, for a sustainable future when it comes to Mother Earth. So I think I'll stop there for now.
Good question. David, how much of an impact would you say that these different consciousness technologies that you've employed in your own life have inspired and guided your research?
Also, in a way, specifically about whether a psychedelic experience for myself
or meditation, like have you had like breakthroughs or realizations or light moments in these consciousness days that you're like, oh my gosh, we need to change the study, or we need to measure that or this, or change this and that?
Thanks for that question. I actually mentioned a bit as a bit of an anecdote, one of the examples which kind of goes in the wrong direction for me, but a lot of my colleagues work in the space, clinicians, they have, either been doing a lot of meditation and psychedelics or one or the other, often both, and they come into the work because they feel and know that this is so important and that defines their careers. That has actually not been the case for me. Again, there I'm slightly boring, but what we have done, I think my most profound experience has actually been with autotrophic breath work that I mentioned yesterday, where we use that when we prepare our therapists for the trials. And one of my insights, as I mentioned yesterday, was that that this state and the release from it meant so much. And I was like, this is what I want to share with people, to take people. And then the horrible insight that I got was, and I don't care about how it works in the brain. And which is a bit of a suicide own goal when you run a lab that is a neuroscience lab. So that is in a way probably my most felt something quite deep, and that's already after working years in the space. So I don't have those beautiful personal experiences. Maybe Iker working in space will have a more interesting.
And it's really
story.
interesting because you're talking also about sharing. It's to a different language and lens, but you talked about sharing, like really going within yourself and feeling at peace, or however you want to define it, but the driver being, I want others to feel this way, and that's
Yeah, absolutely. And instead, we're just sharing publications about how I'm not working. But
important as well.
Yeah.
Shyalpa Rinpoche.
Oh, maybe I will read this thing. What is it say? No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainabilities,
Cities, sustainable cities
and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on the land, peace, justice, and strong institutions, partnerships for the goals, right? So these are the 17 sustainable development goals. And then topic tonight is, what is it? Consciousness.
How the different technologies of consciousness, like meditation, mindfulness, spirituality itself, no?
Okay.
Psychedelics,
Different
work.
technologies.
Yeah.
How can different technologies of consciousness, meditation, psychedelic, align people and companies with SDGs on scale, right? So looking at this title, first of all, you talk about consciousness. I take it that when somebody asks whether he is conscious or he is not conscious, so which means he is alive or he is not alive, right? So when you talk about consciousness, when you add that NESS, it seems to me that we are referring to the state of that being, consciousness. So a state of the being or consciousness is sort of like independent in itself, where that consciousness is penetrable, where nothing can stop that consciousness. So as we say, that when we physically disintegrated, our consciousness transfers, consciousness continues. So when we talk about that consciousness continues, there isn't something that continues. Rather, being able to integrate in the state of being, which is, of course, beyond imagination, which is beyond conceptualization, which is beyond words. So it's something that go beyond any mental activities that can identify. So here, when we talk about the consciousness, so does meditation helps consciousness? Does psychedelics help consciousness? And this is the question that we have to ask. Does consciousness, the state of conscious being, require any help? If that state of conscious being requires any help, is that consciousness or it is just conscious? Just being conscious doesn't mean that you are able to connect to your true natural state of being. So here, I think we have to really think deep, because technologies, the word you use, technologies. So meditation is a technology, and a psychedelic is a technology. Maybe all the technologies that we use. So why technologies are required? For the consciousness. If consciousness requires technology, how consciousness can transfer? Anything requires support. It's not unconditional. Anything that requires support is conditional, because there is no independence. There is no peace. So I think this is something that we have to talk about, because sometimes we have to be very, very honest to say we really do not know anything. And that here we are very important not to pretend that we know everything. Because if consciousness requires any support, how can that be the state of our being? How can, therefore, there is a liberation from suffering? So, for example, if, and like a burning coal is already black, no matter how much we wash it, is that ever going to be pure white? Not possible. If it's a diamond, even if it is buried underground, once you realize it's diamond, you can wash, you can clean, and it will shine. It will bring its natural value back. So we have to relate to this in a very, very meaningful way. But when you talk about consciousness, are we talking about the state of our being? If its state of being needs any dependent support by technologies, I think we are really getting into a big trouble, because then there's no way find solutions to get out of it. So therefore, now when we meditate, what we are doing to consciousness, how meditation is affecting consciousness. As far as I'm concerned, meditation or psychedelic or whatever you uses, it never helps or harms consciousness. Consciousness cannot be helped or harmed. If consciousness can be helped and harmed, then it's not consciousness. It is something that is outside of consciousness. So as a human being, when we are not able to remain in that state, remain in that consciousness, and we try to use technologies to try to sort of like a distract, try to escape. So in many times, meditation can very well be escape, and escape from the reality. So consciousness is not something in our tradition we identify exists somewhere else. Consciousness means in this very moment, as you are breathing, as you are involved in any activities, as you're experiencing sadness or as you're experiencing happiness, whatever is happening in this very moment, being able to see the quality and the essence of it is to be able to experience consciousness. So mean is to be able to dwell in that state where you find indestructible strength to face everything, where then you do not require, psychedelics or meditations or anything. So in our tradition, we say there's nothing to meditate as such. There's only to get used to. So what you get used to, if you get used to your own state of being, from state of being, whatever arises, that is part of the display, part of the energy that is originated from that state. So then, whatever energy that is in front of you, being able to integrate in it, being able to become one with it, being able to find true validity in it as it appears, where you do not feel anything need to subtract or add, then I think you are, if getting used to that way, and that is giving us possibility to meditate 24/7. So are we using psychedelic for 24/7? I mean, if we are using 24/7 psychedelic, are we still conscious? So what is it? I think these are the questions that we have to ask to strengthen ourselves. Actually, what United Nations sustainable goals or 17 sustainable goals are to strengthen ourselves so that we are able to celebrate our life, right? So we are able to give everyone opportunity to, make sure we're able to blossom the quality of human being as such that the United Nations can be proud of. Because they come up with the 17 sustainable goals or whatever. So I think this, so this is something that we need to discuss, because sometimes, oh, UN is so wonderful. They have 17 sustainable goals and blah, blah, blah. Is that big deal? The United Nations come up with this thing? So I think here are so many questions that I am having, not that I have any answers, but it is very important for us to be able to caution and be curious about these things so that we know our human intelligence is such that it is truly a wish-fulfilling jewel. There's nothing that you cannot wish that cannot be fulfilled. So that ability is there. So that confidence has to be generated. And we have to be able to identify and embody that confidence. If we do, then I'm not so sure we need to meditate as such. We need to use psychedelic as such, because we have opportunity to celebrate all the time because we are alive. So this is what I think.
Thank you. Do you think through your spiritual practice and process through these decades, do you feel that you are more connected with these goals than 20 years ago, or you feel you have been aligned with all this?
I think I'm connected even before United Nations ever existed.
Yeah. You are lucky. You are lucky.
What's the thing that keeps them from being maybe described, or were they in this state before when they were children, or what do you think is the thing that keeps them away?
Well, I think when you say keeps them away, so it's very interesting. You said them. You know,
Them or
yeah.
after me.
so, when so like a, as far as, as far as we can all experience it, moment that you ask the question and until now, there is a continuation of the energy flow. It's not that you ask question and then you become blank, but there's continuum of energy. So as there is the continuum energy, it's very interesting. The sustainable is the word they use. How come that energy as it is continuum is not sustainable? It has to be sustainable by itself, like a river flowing. As the river is flowing, the river that you see in front of you, this very moment, is not the same river next moment, because that river that is in front of you is already flowing, right? So to be sustainable is to be able to understand that, to be able to understand that each and every moment is completely valid in itself. So we stay away from that because we doubt. We are not so sure about it. We are not able to truly embody this quality in this very moment. Therefore, we are insecure. Therefore, we are driven by hopes and fears.
I guess not doubt. So we use I use now. Very I use them, but we use psychedelics or meditation to actually get into this moment of getting out. But if you say that these are just techniques or which will not make the consciousness real, then what are then the tools really to not doubt the moment and be really present? Because I think it's very problematic for a lot of people.
No, very good question.
And I think what you say is really true. But I think the main question is what should people really do if they don't want to be dependent on the tools?
Right.
So
No, I
what
think
is it that we should maybe wait for us? Or
No.
maybe it's not, but it doesn't, I don't know the answer. But I guess that would be one of the things that would be, I think, useful.
well, I think everybody is trying, their best, even those who are using psychedelics, and we cannot condemn, saying they are negative, they're using that. Those who are meditating, we cannot condemn them and say they are terrible things. These are just a stepping stone. That's what we have to realize. But if these are stepping stone, we should not prioritize this as much as we are prioritizing, and we are wasting our energy. But most important thing is, as you know, snake ties itself, right? When snake is completely tied itself, snake doesn't require anybody to help to untie itself. Snake unties naturally itself. So generating the trust and the clarity in your mind, the snake, if it is tied itself, it can untie itself, is the key. So as you are living and experiencing your life, in this very moment, if you are very smart, you have to realize that this moment, whatever is happening, is happening. Whatever is going to happen next moment is going to happen. So you have to be able to enjoy and celebrate whatever is happening by trusting that this is the moment, and you have to seize this moment. You have to be able to ride this moment instead of this moment by conditioning enslaves you and rides you. So there is, as I said, you, right? If there is that you feel you are ridden by this experience, that means you are conditioned. So energy, if it is flowing, whether you like it or not, whether you like it or not, tomorrow sun will shine. And then tomorrow there will be another evening. But it will not be as fun as tonight because it's the last day of Davos.
Can I say something? No. So the whole point, this concept of technologies of consciousness, Stan Grof coined it. Stan Grof coined the term technologies of consciousness, no? But and he say, no, LSD is like the telescope or the microscope for geology and astrology, no? There are tools, so you don't use the microscope all the time. You don't use the telescope all the time because you can go to buy bread or to work with a telescope or a microscope in your eyes, no? But there are tools, so they have one particular use case, no? And this other metaphor is like taking a psychedelic is like going in a helicopter to the top of the mountain, but then you go back. Maybe you have some insights, but then you need to walk through the top of the mountain, no? It's a way of living finally, no? But you can have these insights, no? And before giving a second question, I'm gonna also, I don't want to take a lot of time, but at least say a couple of things, no? And for me, well, I've done, my dissertation was personal psychotherapy, so I have studied breath work for my PhD. Then I wrote a book on psychedelic psychotherapy. I have done study also mindfulness. No? If I need to summarize, I mean, it's about how especially psychedelic psychotherapy, continuing what David says, no, is about people and planet, no? It connects you with people, like prosocial behavior, empathy, ego dissolution, and it connects you with nature. So it's people and planet, which is basically, you know, people, planet, profit is another theme, no? I mean, that is very present in Davos. No? So it's about people and planet. I mean, it connects you with people in a more like egoless state, and also with nature. No? So it can really be very useful. No? I'm not going to explain the studies, but these are just titles of studies. No? So psychedelics can induce mystical experiences which are meaningful for the people who has them. No? This is one study. This is another one about openness. No? Even if they change personality, no? These experiences. No? And openness is about tolerance, about really understanding the other, about prosocial behavior. And in fact, they did another study on prosocial behavior, first in Johns Hopkins, and then in Imperial College, no? And then finally, this study, we did it in Imperial College also, no? How all these connections are made also in the brain, no? So, and finally, there are these studies about nature-relatedness that I think I haven't included them. Well, this is with breathwork also. Breathwork can also occasion this kind of mystical experiences, having substantial changes, no? So I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to take the time, but just to tell you that this is my take. So this is the second question that we are not going to open up, but this is another panel that we are doing tomorrow. And the question is how other technologies like Web3, artificial intelligence, can be combined with technologies of consciousness to even align faster people with SDGs. But this is well, if you want to say something about this is the theme of the panel we are doing tomorrow. I'm not sure of the hour, but I think it's going to be 12 to 2. Jeep is going to be there because he's on Web3. There are going to be experts in artificial intelligence. It's going to be myself. So it's going to be also interesting to see. And I'm going to say something else, and then we can open the debate. The last amazing thing I find is the book that the president of WEF wrote like in 2016, which is called The Fourth Industrial Revolution. I'm going to put two sentences of this book. And he's talking about consciousness and evolution of consciousness. The president of WEF in this book. Well, in fact, it's the end of the book. Well, I have translated it from Spanish, so it's not totally accurate. I mean, it's not a. So the book is called The Fourth Industrial Revolution, and these are the two sentences. This is the end of the book, no? This is the president of WEF, Klaus Schwab, 2016, and he say, "I believe that the new technological era, if it's done in an open and responsible way, can produce a new cultural renaissance which can allow us to feel as part of something bigger than ourselves. A truly global civilization. This is the president of WEF. This is not transpersonal psychology. This is not psychedelic assisted psychotherapy. This is WEF. And he say, the fourth industrial revolution has the capacity to become humanity. It doesn't say in robots. It's like in robotize us, no? Like became us like robots. And to put in danger our traditional sources of meaning, work, community, family, and identity. Or we can use the fourth industrial revolution to elevate humanity to a new level of consciousness. As he say, to a new level of consciousness. And this is WEF, President. Based on the feeling of a shared destiny. It's our responsibility to assure that this second option is going to be what is going to happen. And this is how the book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, ends. So my second question for you, and this is more philosophical, is about the evolution of consciousness itself. Sorry, because this is another PowerPoint that I have, but it's about evolution of consciousness itself. You know, there are all these theories about the evolution of consciousness, no? Ken Wilber, Erwin Laszlo. So what do you think about the possibility of a collective evolution of consciousness through these technologies of consciousness, through technology, or through just being present, you know?
Can I share something there?
Yeah.
Go into the last question.
Yes,
And here you asked the water, what is there?
thank you.
I'm Johanna, and I've studied like with many technologies, and of course we all studied with psychedelics. And I opened an ayahuasca center 20 years ago, in Peru, which I was able to heal my own personal injuries, and then I became a devotee. So it's been established for 20 years now, and with Roman Canis, who's a shaman that meditated with Rinpoche and Lama Olen, and I meditated with Rinpoche Bilge, who just passed away, and then incredibly, he did that 10 days Katnam meditation, is after he died, he still sat in meditation. And when they cremated him, his ashes, there was a lot of crystals that I've seen in the surface. His devotees, his ashes, there was crystals in there. So I received a lot of these technologies and transmissions, and to say the least is that after ayahuasca, like once you heal the inner trauma, you understand that you are an extension of our life and how to sustainably age. So we are a permaculture institute, which we do shamanic permaculture certifications for over 20 years. And it's a fully established food forest educational platform. And there we implement, bridge together all the ancient technologies, which is ayahuasca, San Pedro, Qigong, goes really well with San Pedro. And also we have a movie that came out, which is called Sacred Science. And in Sacred Science, we were able to heal 8 patients from fatally ill diseases. And you can check it out on YouTube. And it's all psychosomatic related, right? And so through breath work and through releasing all the dense emotional trauma and sometimes physical toxins, we liberate ourselves. And then once you become liberated and you somersault into the universe, and then you come back into this world, how do we become that extension to benefit all life? And so one of the things that I sometimes don't understand about Nepal, which is there 6 months ago, and I'm studying Tibetan medicine for the past 1.5 years, and it's the most contaminated country. So they meditate, but they do not understand that their environment is an extension, and there's garbage everywhere, and the water is polluted. And so that's one thing that maybe I reflect on as an environmentalist, because I live in Mexico today. And we built our waste management system for Tulum with our own personal money and funding. There was a lot of work, and we passed water laws, and we have an eco community where we receive a lot of environmentalists to help. And that was why I want to add, because these meditations and tools, when they awaken us, we see those goals as innate need for us to do.
No, and in fact, she wanted to talk because there is now this concept of inner development goals, which is precisely how the connection of these techniques with
And
Uh,
Switzerland is one of the most sustainable countries, by the way.
So you want to explain about the Inner Development Goals? So we have only 10 minutes, so we are going to give her a couple of minutes to explain that, and then we can do a closing remark, like 2 minutes each of us to close, and then we can continue the debate in a more informal way if you want.
Can you pull up the picture I just sent you?
I haven't. How did you send me?
Through-
Airdrop. Okay. Let me find it out. But you can start explaining it anyways. Eh? Yeah, I'm gonna. So, but you can start explaining it if you want.
How do I say can start?
So the Inner Development Goals is a concept related with the SDGs. Okay, perfect. Accept. Guardar. I think this is one, no? Okay, perfect. Okay, can we see it? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So a couple of minutes and then the closing remarks and we finish. Yeah.
Thank you. So my friends from Sweden have asked me to share a little project that started. That's called Inner Development Goals. So it's a nonprofit organization and it's open source, so everyone can use it. It's a framework that's based on the 17 Sustainable Development Goal, which, as you know, is also designed by Swedish artist Jacob, who's also a friend. The number 17, which is the shape of flower of life, was originally actually number 1, which is the collaboration. So it initially started as just a group of friends. Every full moon, we'll come together to do a potluck party. We'll dance, we'll do ecstatic dance, we'll meditate, we'll chant, we'll set the intention for the month. And it's just a small group that my friend Yang started in his 1-bedroom apartment. Then we'll go there every morning and then it kind of grow. And then we'll talk about different topics. I think, what kind of work we're doing. And eventually developing into in the development goal, it's 5 different dimensions and 23 skill sets. Because just because we want to be, say, good friends, maybe we do not have the necessary skills or the communication style in order to understand both ourselves and each other. So those become something that's quite practical in order to achieve the 17 SDGs, who are the different personal skill sets in the development tools that we need. And this set of framework, you can find more about it on the website, innerdevelopmentgoals.org. And it's also a conference that's been happening for the last couple of years. And the next one is going to be in Stockholm. It's in October. And it's around the time of my birthday. I'm planning to throw a really big party if you come and visit. And yeah, really, just really shortly to mention this exists. And Costa Rica is the first government that has adopted this framework as part of their development policy, and more corporations also using this. So the idea is for all the nations and corporations that are coming together to develop it and build it on top of each other. Just to say, in the house of collaboration as a way, this is by no means the final step. This is the first step towards the kind of world we want to build. Thank you. And yeah, if you want to find out more about the framework or come to the conference, welcome to come find me. I'll connect you with my friends. Thank you.
So you want a couple of minutes for closing remarks. You can address whatever we have been talking about, or even this last idea about the collective of consciousness, but I need to be about that. Brother,
Yes.
What do you want to say?
I think it's very intriguing and thrilling, and I can't wait to hear more about the AI coming in. Now this will be 2.0 of this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And everything what I heard is legitimate, and I'm a friend of diversity and choice. So there are people who say, I don't do drugs, so psychedelics taboo for me. There are people saying meditation is boring, and I'm not going to touch this. I'm doing holotropic breathing, and I did that, and it is amazing. You go into spaces. There is AI, and I'm curious, really, how AI, AGI, whatever comes. So it is nice to have choice, because we are all different in a way, and we are the same, but we're all different, and we choose that makes it easier for us to access. But as we said, there are technologies, there are tools, so we cannot replace what is with a tool. And that reminds me of a teaching that says, like, when you want to cross a river and you sit in the raft and you have that raft as your tool to cross the river. But once you come to the other shore, which would be the consciousness now in our context, you're not like, once you cross it in the raft, you don't take the raft on your shoulder and you continue to walk, right? When I stand up here, I don't take the chair with me. Once you're done, you're done. So we have to also realize these are tools for something that helps us to realize something that is already there, not to continue doing it once we arrived, because there has to be the insight that we have arrived, and also not to procrastinate and paddle around, taking the metaphor with the boat and paddling around on that river and never want to arrive because it's so blissful or so nice, you know? So there has to be some guidance. And I believe spirituality and science, like our dream team, you know? We can learn so much from each other. And I would like to, yeah, connect there and follow up. Thank you all.
Yeah, there's just something that makes me also, because it was not mentioned in what I've heard so far about psychedelics, was I guess my main focus, and I think actually I'm gonna, in the closing remark, put out a question as a opening towards a caution about what this whole psychedelic movement and this shortcutting into these states and to these insights and to these sort of expanded and high level of consciousness, and where we all feel that we are enriched. And I think there's something in me that is increasingly cautious based on also what we see in some of our trials. Not that I don't think this has insanely important, great potential, but the idea of a single pharmacologically induced experience bringing you with so profound insights that it changes your life path completely. I think there should be quite a lot of caution in that. So I think that spiritual bypassing is one term to be, I think, aware of, and also false/hidden memories. I mean, we have seen in our trials that a couple of patients out of many have suddenly experienced early life, very severe trauma that is impossible in a therapeutic setting afterwards to either falsify or verify. And I think that everybody working with psychedelics needs to, in a way, be better at having that awareness, be better at giving informed consent. And that if people are aware that it sometimes can happen that you have an extremely vivid experience that seems autobiographical, could be, but could also be a symbolic, dreamlike representation of a lot of difficult material that comes out in an extremely vivid way. So people don't wake up from a dream that was really traumatizing nightmare and believe that, oh, that happened, or this is where, but that quality of psychedelics, it feels so extremely real, more real than reality. And that, I think, actually carries some risk. And I think that I want to use my 2 minutes to put caution out there, because I think it's important with all our enthusiasm. We also need to look for the holes in the Swiss cheese.
Thank you.
Yes, it's wonderful to hear all different points of views. Now, bottom line is, I feel that, first of all, no matter what we are doing, our intention and how pure, intention we have, I think that is going to determine whether any of the tools are effective or not. I think even if we use psychedelic, therapy or meditation or whatever we use, if we are intending to use this to, bring clarity, then answer is not psychedelic, answer is not meditation, answer is clarity. If that is the focus, I think, and we cannot go wrong. Even if like AI, today, the new technology that we are talking about, if intention is to bring clarity and to find true purpose of our life, I think AI can also help, and because we need all the help that we can, because people are suffering in many different ways. So as we are using the tool, if you think that is the answer, then I think we get addicted to it, and then we weaken ourselves, and we will not see the point. For instance, if I used my finger to point to the moon, if you look at the tip of my finger and thinking that is the moon, so I think that did not serve the purpose, because we are not able to activate intelligence to look farther than that. So my understanding is that psychedelic and these things, like a doctor is here saying, that somebody who had a huge a trauma from very young age, and something that is unbearable for them, maybe the psychedelic and meditation or whatever they use, and that takes you away from that experience for a moment or for a few hours or whatever. So being able to forget that experience gives them encouragement to not to attach to that feeling continuously. Therefore, they see at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. I think when we see in this way, the bottom line I find is very interesting here is that as a human being with a pure intention, we need to try to be as natural as possible. Try to, because there's nothing that is more powerful than natural way of being. So no matter what, if you are able to generate confidence in that natural way of being, there is no right or wrong, and to say and judge anybody. So you go beyond beyond that. So natural way of being is being a gentle human being, being a compassionate human being, somebody with the humility and who is able to respect everyone and understand everyone and feel everyone's pain, and at the same time feel everyone's happiness and able to celebrate together. Here in Davos, even we are here for World Economic Forum, and the World Economic Forum is not necessarily to hold billions of dollars in one or two people's account or trillions of dollars in one or two countries' account. I think if there is a purpose for being here together, it is to be able to really benefit everyone. To benefit everyone is to truly understand everyone's vulnerabilities. When we look at each other's eyes, and without being egotistical, without being so proud of oneself, it's very important to see each other's eyes and see that vulnerability and embrace each other in such a way that, okay, I get it, we all are same. We must, try to help each other. We must try to apply whatever tools that we are available. But as Brother Freedom was saying, that you do not need to carry the boat after you cross the ocean. So this analogy is very beautiful. So in that way, if we continuously always try to improve ourselves by being natural, by being compassionate, by being a caring person, I think that will make us capable of sleeping better. And even if we stay up until 3 a.m., it's still okay. We can sleep after that very well. So quality sleep is very important. So I know in Davos, and that is one of the perks of being here. So you stay up until 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. Still, you think you are doing great. So anyway, always being able to celebrate is the key. Even that, I do not mind, and those who are capable of staying up, except me, I have a problem, staying up. So that's my weakness. It's not. So bottom line is how we can all understand each other and then, be complementary to each other and see that everyone is your partner on this journey. And whoever is there, you should try to dance with it. Whatever feeling and emotions you have to try to dance with it. Whatever thoughts comes, you have to dance with it. So as a human being, and the biggest quality that we can achieve to find our purpose is when we become a good manager, where we are able to manage everything. So if we know that that is our purpose, we have to manage it, whether it's a happy time or whether it's a bad time, whether it's with the good friends or whether it's with so-so friends. If we are able to handle it, then I think, that is okay. So psychedelics or meditations or whatever, I think then we will be able to use it to enhance ourselves and become more mature, become more caring, and maybe become more clear and in our mind. So that is my take on this thing. And I would like to request to everyone to try to pause, in your day, time to time, maybe, 2 minutes or maybe 30 seconds or whatever. And in the middle of everything is happening, just, pause, even if you're about to sign $1 billion contract, just pause for 30 seconds and generate compassion and try to be natural without being seduced by that big contract that you're going to sign. Because after all, nothing is worth and getting distracted. So this is what I think.
Thank you. I'm going to do a joke. I think the piano bar itself is a technology of consciousness in Davos. It's like the best networking space of all Davos. Well, this is a joke. So thank you very much. I think it's been a very interesting, amazing debate. I wish we have more time, but we will continue having this conversation. Probably also this is going to be the beginning, well, it was already the beginning of a friendship, but also this debate unfolding during the next years in Davos. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, before we all leave, this is the Jedi House of Collaboration, but it's also the Jedi House of Embodied Collaboration. And with embodiment, see your brother Freedom?
Pardon me?
Thank you. Thank you for speaking. I would love to invite you to help us embody intentional pause, as His Eminence has just invited us to do. Can we listen to a sound of the bell, please?
I was back in school and it was. Okay, we trained ourselves already. Continuous drops, carve the stone, little strokes, big oaks. So if we do this continuously, we get used to it. We can manage ourselves better. When we do it often, when it's not really needed, we will already have training and know how to do it in a hard storm emotional success. So please take that to your heart and stop during the day. Take opportunities, a barking dog, a church bell, police siren, your partner yelling at you. How would they react when you just close your eyes and smile at them? Just imagine. Get in touch with your body. Feel the ground. Feel that your body is safe. Release the tension of the muscles that you don't need right now. Take them away. Follow your breathing. Listen to it. Feel the presence of all the other beings in this room.
Thank you. May you all have a wonderful evening.